Ever stop to think where the stuff you buy at the local Canadian Tire comes from? Or the maple syrup on your pancakes? We often take for granted the intricate web of trade that keeps our shelves stocked and our economy humming. But what happens when that web gets tangled or even threatened? That's the question we're grappling with today, especially with the ever-looming presence of our neighbors down south and the potential for major shifts in North American trade. Donald Trump, a name synonymous with shaking things up, has made no secret of his desire to reshape global trade relationships. And while much of the focus has been on China and other overseas manufacturing hubs, Canada could very well find itself in the crosshairs. We're not just talking about a few tariffs here and there. We're talking about a potential fundamental restructuring of supply chains that could ripple through our economy, impacting everything from the price of groceries to the availability of jobs. Imagine a world where Canadian businesses are actively discouraged or even penalized for sourcing materials or manufacturing goods here at home. Imagine entire industries relocating south of the border, drawn by tax incentives and political pressure. It sounds like something out of a political thriller, but it's a very real possibility that we need to consider. The relationship between Canada and the United States is complex, deeply interwoven with economic ties that have been forged over decades. We're each other's largest trading partners, and our economies are heavily reliant on the smooth flow of goods and services across the border. But that doesn't mean we're immune to disruption. A determined administration in Washington can wield significant influence, and the potential for protectionist policies to impact Canadian businesses is a very real concern. This isn't just about politics. It's about jobs, livelihoods, and the future of our economy. It's about understanding the potential vulnerabilities in our supply chains and taking steps to mitigate the risks. It's about figuring out how we can strengthen our own domestic industries and diversify our trade relationships so that we're not overly reliant on any single partner. So, buckle up, eh? We're about to dive deep into the world of international trade, political maneuvering, and the future of Canada's economic relationship with the United States. We'll explore the potential impacts of Trump's policies, the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, and what it all means for the average Canadian. It's a story that affects us all, and it's one that deserves our attention. We need to understand the stakes, so we can be informed and prepared for whatever the future may hold. Propos du contexte et des origines, il faut remonter un peu dans le temps pour bien saisir l'ampleur de ce qui pourrait se produire. L'accord de libre-échange nord-américain, l'ALENA, a été un pilier de notre économie pendant des décennies, tissant des liens commerciaux étroits avec les États-Unis et le Mexique. On se souvient des débats enflammés à l'époque, les promesses d'emploi et de prospérité, mais aussi les craintes de voir nos industries délocalisées. L'ALENA a changé la donne, c'est indéniable, et le Canada a su en tirer profit, mais avec quelques cicatrices ici et là. Puis est arrivé l'ACUEUM, l'accord Canada-États-Unis-Mexique, une version modernisée de l'ALENA. On pensait que les choses allaient se stabiliser, que les règles du jeu étaient claires. Mais voilà, la politique américaine est rarement prévisible, surtout en matière de commerce international. Trump, avec son slogan « America First », a toujours eu une vision bien à lui du commerce, une vision où les États-Unis doivent être les grands gagnants, et où les autres, doivent s'adapter. On se rappellera ses menaces de déchirer l'ALENA, ses critiques virulentes envers le Canada, ses accusations de pratiques commerciales déloyales. Ça a jeté un froid, c'est le moins qu'on puisse dire. On a eu l'impression de revivre les mêmes angoisses qu'avant l'ALENA. Cette fois-ci, avec encore plus d'incertitude. L'ACEUM est là, oui, mais sa pérennité dépend en grande partie de la volonté politique de Washington. Considérez l'industrie automobile, par exemple. Elle est fortement intégrée entre le Canada et les États-Unis, avec des pièces qui traversent la frontière plusieurs fois avant d'être assemblées dans un véhicule fini. Un changement de politique majeur pourrait perturber cette chaîne d'approvisionnement complexe, forçant les entreprises à repenser leurs opérations et potentiellement à relocaliser des usines aux États-Unis. Ce serait une perte importante pour le Canada, tant en termes d'emploi que de revenus, Mais à part ça, il y a aussi le secteur agricole, qui est très dépendant des exportations vers les États-Unis. Pensez aux producteurs de porc, de bœuf, de blé. Une nouvelle série de tarifs douaniers ou de barrières non tarifaires pourrait les frapper de plein fouet, rendant leurs produits moins compétitifs sur le marché américain. Ça pourrait mener à des fermetures d'exploitations agricoles et à une crise dans les communautés rurales. Alors, vous voyez, l'histoire du commerce entre le Canada et les États-Unis est de fait de hauts et de bas, de négociations ardues et de compromis difficiles. On a toujours réussi à s'en sortir, à trouver des solutions qui bénéficient aux deux pays. Mais avec Trump, on a l'impression que les règles du jeu ont changé, que la confiance est ébranlée. Il faut donc se préparer au pire, sans pour autant perdre espoir. On doit être prêt à défendre nos intérêts et à diversifier nos marchés pour ne pas être à la merci des caprices de la politique américaine. Right, so where does all this leave us, eh? We've been kicking around some pretty weighty ideas, haven't we? It's like we've been navigating a winding back road, dodging potholes of political uncertainty and trying to keep our bearings with a map that seems to change every few kilometers. We've seen how deeply intertwined our economic fate is with that of our neighbors to the south, like two vines that have grown together over decades, so much so that pulling one risks damaging the other. But it's also clear that we can't just sit back and hope for the best, can we? That'd be like waiting for the snow to melt in July. A recipe for disappointment, for sure. This whole situation feels a bit like watching a hockey game where the other team keeps changing the rules. You've got to be quick on your skates, adapt to the new conditions, and find creative ways to score. It's about being resilient, about figuring out how to not just survive, but thrive, even when the ice is a bit uneven. Reflecting on this journey so far, it's not just about the numbers or the trade agreements, is it? It's about the people, the families who rely on those jobs, the communities that depend on those industries. It's about ensuring that our economy is strong and diverse enough to weather any storm, no matter how fierce. It's about building a future where Canadian businesses can compete and succeed on the world stage without being held hostage to the whims of foreign governments. Think of it like this. We've been relying on a single, sturdy bridge to get across, a wide river. That bridge has served us well for many years, but it's starting to show its age, and there's talk of the other side wanting to raise the tolls. Now, we could keep patching up that old bridge and hoping for the best, or we could start exploring other options, building new bridges, maybe even finding a way to navigate the river ourselves. Ultimately, it boils down to this. We need to be proactive, not reactive. We need to be smart, not just strong. We need to be united, not divided. The challenges ahead are significant, no doubt, but so is our capacity to overcome them. It's in our Canadian DNA to be resourceful, resilient, and innovative. It's time to tap into those qualities and chart a course towards a more secure and prosperous future for all. The path forward may not be easy, but it is ours to forge, eh? It's our time to show the world what we're made of. Okay, so, where do we land after all this chin-wagging about trade and Trump, eh? It's not just about economics, is it? It's about our sense of place, our identity as Canadians, and how we see ourselves in this big, complicated world. We've built a good life here, a life based on fairness, innovation, and a certain quiet confidence. And the thought of that being threatened by forces beyond our control, well, it's enough to give anyone the willies, but dwelling on the what-ifs won't get us anywhere, will it? We've got to be like those old-time voyageurs, paddling our own canoe, charting our own course. We can't just rely on the current to take us where we need to go. We've got to be proactive, thinking ahead, and building up our own strengths so we can weather any rapids that come our way. Maybe this whole kerfuffle is a wake-up call, a chance for us to really double down on what makes Canada special. We've got incredible resources, a skilled workforce, and a culture that values collaboration and creativity. Instead of worrying about what might happen south of the border, maybe we should be focusing on building even stronger relationships with other countries, diversifying our markets, and becoming a true global leader in innovation and sustainable development. Think about it. We could be the ones setting the standards, the ones showing the world how to do things right. We could be building a future where Canadian businesses are sought after for their quality, their reliability, and their commitment to ethical practices. That's a future worth fighting for, eh? A future where our kids and grandkids can thrive, no matter what happens in Washington or anywhere else. So, as the saying goes, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or maybe in our case, when life gives you trade threats, build a stronger, more resilient economy. We've got the smarts, the grit, and the good old Canadian spirit to pull it off. The true practice begins now, to support local businesses, to champion Canadian innovation, and to build a future where we're not just surviving, but thriving on our own terms. It's a big job, no doubt, but we're up to the challenge. After all, that's what being Canadian is all about, eh?